Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Becky, and we're parents to two little kids. Parenting isn't always easy. There are ups and downs, good days and bad days, days with way too much TV, and days with lots of laughter. Moments where you just feel overwhelmed, and moments where you've never felt more proud.
At the end of the day, parenting is super rewarding, but also super hard. This podcast is for all the parents out there who feel like they have no idea what they're doing, because we're right there with you. This is the Spillproof podcast. Welcome back to the Spillproof podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Becky.
And today we're going to be talking about toys. Everything about toys. Because if you have kids, you have toys. And if you have a house or an apartment or any dwelling you live in, they are spread out everywhere. And when they're everywhere, you step on them. And no matter how much you try to clean, they're just everywhere.
They're everywhere. If there's anyone out there that doesn't have this problem, like how do you keep the toys contained? I don't know. We've tried many ways.
We've tried to make rooms for it, but then
designated playrooms.
Every room becomes a playroom because just nothing, and not it all can't fit in that room. And I think every room in the house at this point, other than our bedroom, has become a playroom.
That's kind of true and so sad.
It's even bled into the basement.
The kitchen's not bad. It's just our playroom and our kitchen are connected. So
it spills into it.
It spills into the kitchen.
We used to have a baby gate that would separate it, but we recently took that down.
It was like a really wide baby gate, but now it's really open.
And man, it just flows right into there.
And I think, so we are super grateful because we have a lot of hand-me-down toys from the kids' cousins, which is great. But now it's like, so they have 5 cousins. So I feel like we have like 5 times the amount of toys that we should. Because, we're like, oh yeah, they might like that. Or, oh yeah, Owen's really into cars. We'll take all your Cars toys. But now we have way too many Cars toys. And so it's like a little bit of a double-edged sword.
In fairness, we've bought most of those.
The cars, but like the toys in general.
Yeah.
It's like the hand-me-downs are great, but it's like we would never have bought the kids this many toys to begin with.
Yeah. Well, you know what the great hand-me-downs have been? Are the books. The books have been fantastic.
Yes,
we've bought almost no books, but we have obviously been gifted books, and both of us have books from when we were younger. But honestly, the books are... I mean, I'm looking right at them right now. They filled almost to the top of a TV stand, like a 3-foot tall TV stand, and they're great.
Yeah, like books are like they're just like I think the best toy because they're obviously educational.
Some of them are.
Yeah, I mean, for little kids, literally any book is educational.
Little Blue Truck gives nothing.
Yeah, but they're learning how to read.
He's not reading that. He reads Go Dog Go.
He does not read Go Dog Go. He has memorized Go Dog Go.
He has a crazy good memory. We actually were testing that theory today.
We were. You want to tell him?
Yeah, I'll tell. I'm not ashamed of this. So we've talked about this before on the podcast, the kids' TV show Bluey. It's one of our favorites. I know it's one of my favorites. And if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. Check it out. It's fantastic. There's 2 seasons of it with a 3rd on the way. But what we were doing is sometimes at dinner, what we'll do is we won't watch TV, but we'll listen just to music or an episode of something, whatever it might be.
Especially if not really but if Owen's a little like antsy, and so, like, to get him to, like, sit at the table.
It gets him to focus.
Yeah, well, like, we're just going to listen. And it kind of ends up being, like, background music almost.
Yeah, it's the same thing as playing music on Spotify.
Yeah. So we were listening to Bluey in the background. And you were like, let's play a game of, like, guess the episode just by listening to it. And Dave was like, we're going to do Mommy versus Owen.
Yeah, because it was my phone, and
you were like,
plus I don't think it'd be as much of a challenge for me.
Okay, guys, I thought I was going to crush Owen. I literally said to my 2-year-old, Mommy's going to destroy you. I'm going to win this game. Sorry.
She's a little competitive.
I'm a bit competitive. And
Just a little
Owen was
bit.
just like, okay, Mommy. Like,
So we started out, and I did the skip intro, just to speed it up a little bit. Or the intro started playing, and I was like, okay, buddy, get ready. I'm going to do it. And I skipped the intro. And within 1.5 to 2 seconds, it was like a split second, it was the music. It wasn't even anything. It was like the music, I think it was.
It was the music for the episode.
Yeah, that just,
and I
like,
think
brought it in.
maybe Bingo started to like giggle or make a noise.
Yeah, and he was like, immediately knew what it was.
It was handstand.
And it was handstand. Like, immediately knew what it was.
First of all, I'm realizing now I don't even know the names of all the episodes. I know a lot of them,
well, that was your mistake.
I know, but I just thought, of course I'm going to win against this 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
He demolished me.
He knows the names of the episodes.
But like, just
which they say at the beginning. They do
at the beginning. It's like something happens and then they're like, this episode is handstand.
Mm-hmm. Or like hairdresser, but then it becomes knits.
Yeah, but like he knew it after Bingo went like, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's handstand.
Yeah, and then like right after, she's like, watch me do a handstand.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, is this for real? So it's like, okay, the first time's got to be a fluke, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe he just watched that one recently. It's a fluke.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorites because you watch it and there's always new things going on each time. It's really good. So we did it again.
Same thing.
And I think that one was Bad Mood.
Yeah, Bad Mood. I don't know. But again, like one character said one half of a word and he was like, oh, it's Bad Mood.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what skill is this? Like, and what skill is this that you have?
I think what happens is, and and this is why I don't have a problem with how we do this, because yes, it's TV, whatever, but we've already talked about that in a previous episode. What's interesting is, and I think what's happening with him is that he listens, he hears it, and he's visualizing it as he's hearing it. So it's kind of like when you read a book. So you read a book and you visualize what's happening when you read.
Do you visualize what's happening when you read, Dave?
I see nothing. I see absolutely
Interesting
nothing.
fact about Dave. He does not visualize anything when he reads.
If I don't have... I'm a very creative person. Extremely creative. I've got a good imagination. If I don't have a point of reference, I have no idea. I don't. So I can read Harry Potter books. And because I have a point of reference.
Yes.
So I can kind of gather together, but in general, I don't have that ability.
I think that's odd. Maybe there's more people out there like that, but I think it's kind of odd.
That brings it to another random tangent as we get further away from what we were talking about. The other day, we watched a movie and there was some music in it with no words, just music. And I got that score stuck in my head. So that was playing through. So I could hear music, like a score being played with no words while I was doing whatever. And it just somehow got stuck in my head.
More common than...
I think it's less common when there's no words. When you get a song stuck in your head, isn't it usually the song and the words?
I don't know.
Like you might get a tune, but that's a good point.
Well, we're gonna research this one more and get back to you guys on what's more rare. Anyways, he beat me 4-1. Mm-hmm. And the one time I won, I acted like a complete child and was like, yeah, I got it. So then that was the 4th time we played. So then the 5th time when he crushed me again, he celebrated. And I was like, you can celebrate.
Yeah, he totally
was like,
got you.
Yeah, I did it. But he's got a good memory, man.
He does. And his visual memory is really good, too. Hence why he can do Go Dog Go.
Yeah. Anyways, books are great toys.
We consider them toys.
Yeah. They yeah. But they do clutter up the house. We put them away every night in this little shelf thing, and they're just scattered everywhere by the end of the day. But
yeah, we need a bookshelf.
Fine.
But in any case, so books are really, really great.
So right now we are trying to clean out some toys before Christmas as well and donate some.
And I think that's where we got this idea from.
Yeah.
As we were trying to clean out, make room, we realized that, you know, and because I remember buying a lot of these toys, and it's like, man, we bought these toys 6 months, a year ago, and we're getting rid of them. Birthday stuff, Owen's birthday. Some of the stuff we got rid of recently was from his birthday.
From his birthday,
and it was like,
they just outgrow it. Like at this stage, like we had a lot of baby toys around too for Em that she hasn't played with in months because she's almost 14 months now. So we just, you know, we saved ones that were sentimental or that they played with a lot. And then we just started to bin up, put them in bins and put them in the garage. But yeah, because like, you know, the nanas are going to spoil them. We're probably going to get some things that they really want. But the problem with this is unless you get rid of the stuff right away and bring it to a donation station or bring it to whoever you're going to donate it to.
Or throw it in the garbage.
Yeah, the kids will find it. And then everything that you're like, oh, we're going to donate this, they don't play with anymore. They're like,
oh, it's my new favorite thing.
I love this.
Yeah.
If you get rid of it, I'll perish.
100%.
The kids are like that. And my mom is like that.
Yeah, she brought in some books today.
We have a bin of like duplicate books and these like puzzle things because we already have 3 of these puzzle type things. And so the other 9 that were donated to us or were hand-me-downs from the kids' cousins were like, oh, we don't need all these. We'll donate them and have them in a bin in the garage. And the kids have been bringing like a book in at night after we walk or go outside. And I'm like, we got to remember which books these are. And then today, my mom watched the kids today and she was like, oh, I just brought all the books from the garage inside. They're great. And I was like, they're all duplicate books and all things that we were donating.
And now they're all mixed up in everything else, so we don't know which is which.
We have to go through all of our books again.
Which is fair enough. We probably ought to go through some of them because they tear apart the books. They absolutely destroy them.
Yeah.
But they love the books.
They do.
The ones that they destroy are the ones that they really like.
Just like flipping through it too much.
The spines. They break the spines on it.
Yeah. And like Em's just like a little aggressive with anything that has a flip in it right now. Like a flip
her
up.
Her fine motor skills really aren't great.
Yeah, or she'll get excited. Or if Owen's looking at it, then she'll get excited and she'll try to rip it out of his hands. And then it's just a whole thing. I do think too, as we've been going through stuff, I feel like a lot of it has been like primarily Owen's and not necessarily like specifically for Emmy. But I do feel like that's because she's a second kid and the first time around you're like, oh, we already got this toy. So, or like, we don't need to get a duplicate of this in pink, or like, we don't need to get a duplicate of this just for the sake of Emmy having it. But I like associate those toys with Owen. So then I like sometimes feel bad because I'm like, oh, Emmy doesn't have any toys of her own. Where she just plays with Owen's hand-me-downs like Owen played with his cousin's hand-me-downs. But even now I like struggle with like for Christmas, I'm like, what are we going to get her?
Well, part of the problem with that is, and we've talked about that, I think, in our siblings episode, that, you know, it's really hard, and maybe not everyone has this problem, but I know that we've talked about it, that, you know, the second child just doesn't get the same maybe focus that the first kid did, just by sheer,
because there's 2 of them,
right? So you're trying to handle the older one while still doing everything you can for the younger one, and your time's split. Whereas with the first, it's only focused on that kid. So, you know, it's really hard, especially when they're so close in age, to kind of differentiate between who has what, and, you know, what to buy the other one. Because to your point, again, why buy the exact same thing in a pink color? I mean, we're not,
it's like Emmy doesn't like, we're not
gender specific.
Yeah, and like Emmy doesn't care.
No.
But also, so like she's into cars and trucks and stuff like Owen is, but then if we bring something home that's car truck related and we're like, oh, this is for Emmy, and we're very clear to Owen that like this is an Emmy toy, Owen's like, nah, that's mine.
because it looks like everything else he owns.
Yeah, so that's been hard. And not that they don't share. They do share.
Ish.
55% of the time they share really well. And the other 45, it's like every other sibling in the world where they're like, they don't want to share their toys.
Well, and like her little Tyke's baby stroller.
Yeah.
They both love to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
They both also love to sit in it and then push each other.
Yeah.
But that's hers. The only time she wants to play with it is when Owen's playing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, she really doesn't play with it much on her own. She just, like, Emmy just wants to be with her brother all the time.
She totally looks up to him.
Yeah. And
Totally.
Owen's like, I need my space, lady. Back off.
So it is kind of hard to, at least for us, to figure out what she's into. You know, we want to, what's the right way to put this? We want to make sure that we're nurturing her interests.
Yeah.
Even at 1 year old. And actually, this brings up a really good point. So we did a little early Christmas shopping, we'll call it. Window shopping.
Window shopping.
And
we told the kids before we went into Target, we were like, hey, we're not getting anything today. We're just going to look and see what toys look nice. We said it about 30 times.
it still ended up in a meltdown leaving.
Did,
but
we tried.
What was interesting, and I think maybe we'll do this again, because believe it or not, our 1 year old knows how to wear a mask, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very little coaxing, so we have hopes for potty training. What was interesting was Owen's go-to is everything Pixar cars. Won't leave it. Eyes cars. He's stuck there. We split up.
Yeah, he was in that aisle the entire time.
The entire time. And leaving was embarrassing slightly. So, but there was a point where Becky and Emily kind of walked off, and she had a chance to kind of be on her own and look at toys. And what's interesting about that is that everything's there. Any toy she could ever want is there.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of can figure out what she likes, aside from walking around our house and just looking at all of Owen's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what she ended up finding was...
Yeah, it was like a little doggy in like a purse. It was like, it sounds funny, but she does love dogs. Like anytime dogs walk by the house or we see them on a walk or at the park, she's obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
So she saw this little dog and it was like in a Disney princess like bag kind of. And so she picked it up by the handles and started walking away with it. And I was like, Emmy, go show Daddy. So she brought it over to the cars aisle where Owen and Dave were looking at the Pixar cars and like brought it up. And I was like, look, she picked it out herself. So I thought that was cute because I don't think I would have picked that out for her.
No, I never would have thought.
Yeah.
But she loves stuffed animals. She loves stuffies.
Yeah.
That's like a huge thing for her. It really doesn't matter what it is, but she tends to really like monkeys right now.
Mm-hmm. Monkeys and dogs.
And I think it's just the arms because they can kind of like wrap around her when she hugs it.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was interesting, is that we could kind of accidentally kind of figured out a way to figure out what she's into.
Yeah.
Because I know Owen's right now, he's big into cars, Tayo.
He's
building.
getting more into like Diplo blocks.
Mm-hmm. But really, Emily's just...
She kind of does what Owen does. Like,
yeah.
she just wants to play with Owen, so she plays with what he's playing with. So it's... And even like, you know, when obviously we'll have time with her alone, if like... they're not napping at the same time, or, you know, Dave's playing with Owen and I'm playing with Emmy or vice versa. Like we have like alone, like separate time with them. And right now she really just likes reading and like she just loves to climb on things.
Mm-hmm. There will be a swing set in our future at some point.
Yeah. But it was nice to just let her walk around and be like, what looks cool?
Yeah, I think we'll probably need to do that again just to kind
Mm-hmm.
of get an idea of what she might like.
Because I don't know if she's even, I mean, she's one. So I don't know if we're like getting too deep into this, but like, I don't know if she even knows what she likes.
Well, and that brings up a good point too. So, what a kid likes and what is age appropriate are two
Mm-hmm.
completely different
That's
things.
true.
So, there's a huge gap between, let's just call it 2 years old and younger, and 3 and up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of toys are 3 and up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff you see, the Imaginext, Cars, Hot Wheels.
Most of the toys Owen has are 3 and up.
Most of the toys own, and that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you look at the gap between 2 or 18 months, 2 years old to 3, it's like Rattles or
The big blocks. What are
and
they?
the big
Mega
blocks.
blocks or something?
No, I can't remember what they're called. Maybe they are Mega Blocks. And then it's like actual toys. The stuff that's like 2 and under is like a 6-month-old could play with or a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And really, a 2-year-old doesn't care about Rattles at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there is like kind of a gap between like 9 months and 2 years old where it's like there's just not a ton. I mean, I'm sure there are. I'm sure someone's like, oh no, there's this, and this. But like we found
It's really 3
there's
years
not
old.
as much. Yeah. And part of me is like, is that just the toy manufacturers being like, well, hey, we put a label that said 3 and
Yeah.
up. So if something does happen, like we said
Like
3
Hot
and
Wheels
up.
cars are 3 and up.
Yeah. Owen started playing with those when he was like 14 months. For better or worse.
Around when
It was when
pandemic
pandemic started.
started.
Yeah. So like around 14
he got
months.
his first car. I remember I got it from Wegmans when I was shopping.
Yeah.
We still have it.
Mm-hmm.
And since then he's had probably 100 more. After
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I think the age recommendations, like, I think they're a good guide, but also, like, it's just how is the kid going to play with it? So, like, are you going to be in the room with them watching, or is this a toy that, like, you're going to leave in the room? Because I think that'll depend on, like, what you get.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't leave him in a room alone with Play-Doh.
Play-Doh, man.
Yeah. We'll get to that at some point on this. So yeah, so that also brings up the other thing that you were talking about. What do you do with them when you're done with them?
Yeah, we've kind of taken the route of like which toys feel sentimental that we want to keep in like a bin in the basement and go through occasionally and be like, oh my gosh, this was his favorite toy, or this was her favorite rattle, or this was like the onesie that he wore all the time, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So we go through, like we do it with clothes too, like clothes and toys. We go through everything when they've outgrown them or they don't use them anymore. And we pick what is sentimental to us. And then the rest, we've been pretty good about being like, we're going to donate it. Or
we just don't have the space.
Yeah, we really just don't have the space. Like,
I think it's going to get less and less as he gets older.
Yeah, because like the toys aren't as bulky.
We're not going to keep his Indominus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
But there might be books. There might be some books that we'll keep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like the books, like, they're not going to, most of the books we have, they're not going to age out of. Like, they can't even read yet. You know, like, this is going to take a while for them to age out of the books, I would say. But yeah, you just, like, it's kind of like when we got rid of our, like, baby stuff. Dave and I are not planning on having any more kids. So at a certain point, we were like,
no,
we got to get rid of these bouncers. We got to get rid of, like, our travel bassinet in our bedroom. We did like a big purge, and part of me was like, but what if? Like, what if we don't? And like, we have no desire to have any more kids. We have 2 beautiful kids and we're done. So I was like, no, we just got to get rid of it, because otherwise it will take up our whole house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd have to get a storage unit the size of our house to store stuff
like,
that we might use one day.
I know. So yeah, we've been a lot better recently. I would say like within the last like 4 or 5 months of just being like, this isn't practical to keep anymore. We got to get rid of it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. We've purged a lot of stuff out of the house, and again, in anticipation for Christmas, which is going to happen in December, and Owen's birthday, which happens right after.
Yeah.
So is it worth it? Is it worth spending all this money on toys? You know, the hundreds of dollars, certainly the hundreds of dollars that we've spent on cars, but like just all this money we spend on these toys, and then a year later we throw them out, or they break. Or like we were on vacation and we got him 2 of those like pullback cars, and there was like a Jeep and this crane truck. The crane truck broke almost immediately.
Yeah.
And then there's those cheap ones that normally you get. They're like $5.99, and they're at the grocery store, and they're on that tower, or they're at the drugstore. These were like $8 or $12 for some inexplicable reason. They were really expensive,
and they immediately broke.
Well, the crane one had batteries, made some lights, whatever. But he broke that like as soon as we got in the car. He broke the crane off because he tried bending it the wrong way because he thought it was a tow truck. Is it worth it?
I think some of it's worth it, and I think some of it's definitely not worth it. Like, we just bought them to, like, appease a kid, right? Like, I'd love to say that every tantrum I was calm, cool, and collected and was able to, like, get them out of the store, like, not screaming or crying. But, like, sometimes I'm like, here, if you hold this, if we get this, can you just like get out of the store and can we get out in one piece? So I think some of them are like totally justifiable purchases that even though they only lasted for like 6 months, they used them every day for 6 months and they loved it. And then other ones were a complete waste. Definitely. Like 50-50, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Sometimes you'll spend money on something and they'll just, play hard with it, and it breaks.
Yeah.
But they played with it, opposed to the stuff you spend $100 on, and it just sits there and collects dust, or they play with it once a month. We certainly have had those mistakes.
What would you say are some of those, what I call, what a waste toy?
Well, so are we talking about what's a waste or what I hate?
No, like we bought it and it was such a waste of the money. Like, not that you don't like the toy or you find it annoying, but like you said, like we spent $100 on this and like they used it once, or like we never really used it. Like, what a waste of money.
Currently his bike.
I have that on the list too. So we got like a pretty snazzy like bike.
It's a specialized bike.
Yeah,
a kid.
We got it at this like fair this summer. It was like the first time we went to like a gathering with more people. It was all outside. It was like a village festival, but it was like the first time we had gone to anything like this since pandemic started. And so I think we were like a little hyped up, and we spent way too much money on this bike. And we were like, Owen's going to learn how to ride a tricycle this summer. Or not tricycle. It's a bike with, what are they called?
Training wheels.
Training wheels. So it has training wheels on it, and you can take them off eventually. And we're like, we're going to teach him how to ride a bike with training wheels this summer. Well, his legs like weren't quite long enough. He had never really like gone on like a pedal bike before, or like even like a pedal tricycle he'd never ridden on before. He'd always done the ones where you just like do it with your legs. And so we also have a super steep driveway. So we either have to like use it in our backyard or bring it to a grandparent's house. But then when we brought it to a grandparent's house, he wanted to like play with his grandparents, not learn how to ride a bike with training wheels. So it has been sitting in our garage for a long time. Eventually I think it'll be but in the last
something.
4 months. Nope.
It's just been sitting there. It'll sit there too because we're going into winter.
Yeah. The other one I think I thought of right away was that like A-frame swing that we bought for last winter.
That was a complete
waste. It was like $60 or $70, and it's this like little mini A-frame.
I'm sure you can find it on Amazon.
Yeah, I think we got it off Amazon. And it has like a plastic swing, And so we were like, well, Owen loves to swing and we're going into like winter during a pandemic. So we'll get him this and he can swing inside. And it doesn't go very high, but we were like, this is perfect. So we got him in it, and like the seat of the swing was like, it was all right angles, but it was like angled the wrong way. So he always slid forward instead of like back. Yeah. So he would slide out, and then he likes to go really high in swing. So like it would start rocking. So he literally used it one time, maybe twice. Maybe twice. And then we were going to get a different seat for it, but then we never did. And then the A-frame piece like sat upstairs in the guest room / office until recently.
Where we took it down.
Yeah. So
that was a complete waste of money.
Complete waste of money.
I'll give that to you.
Complete waste.
I think you could argue there's a lot of things that are a waste of money. Mm-hmm. But I think that the bigger thing is, what are the toys that just suck? That just are awful.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh is the worst.
I get that there's like a lot of educational benefits of Play-Doh, right? Mm-hmm. Like building things and like tactile stuff, like learning tactile skills. But like as a parent,
it's just a mess.
Yeah, and like they get aggravated, and like M doesn't play with Play-Doh, but Owen plays with Play-Doh. Like they're always trying to slip it in their mouth, even though they know they're not supposed to eat it, or lick it. And like it gets under their fingernails. Mm-hmm. And then you start with all these bright colors. Oh, the carpet. Gosh, takes forever to get out. And then you start with all these bright colors, and they all just end up as like
brown.
Yeah, brown swirls.
Funny enough, you can buy brown, so you just get there as soon as you buy it.
I know you should. It should just be all brown. Don't even bother with the colors.
Mm-hmm. So, and actually, Owen played with that earlier tonight, and that was a complete mess. We cleaned our kitchen up 3 times today.
Yeah, like within an hour. I was gonna say like an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. We literally cleaned it 3 times.
Still need to wash the floor.
Yeah.
That is one of the worst. That and finger paints.
Yeah, those are what we call Nana activities. So either with my mom, who's Nana, or Dave's mom, who is Nene to our kids, we really let them handle the Play-Doh and the finger painting. And Dave and I stay out of it because it just gives us too much anxiety.
It's an awful mess. Same thing, honestly, and I hate to say this, same thing with markers and crayons.
I don't mind crayons.
Well, the problem with crayons is different. So markers are a problem because they're just a mess and they draw on everything. At least with crayons, when they draw on the wall, you can get it off with a magic eraser. Magic erasers are great.
Yeah.
The problem with crayons is they eat the crayons.
Owen doesn't really eat the crayons anymore, but like
he chews on them.
M really eats them.
Yeah, he still gnaws on them and sucks on them and puts them in his mouth.
I think he started doing it again because he sees Emmy doing it. So he's like, "Oh, we can get away with this again? Cool."
Just no.
I have a very specific one.
Is it sandbox?
No, it's not a sandbox, but that's a good one.
Sandbox sand everywhere.
Yeah. Sandbox. We did like that makeshift, which you know what? In a previous podcast, we did like our like top toys, and I think we had the sandbox. Or no, it was our top like parenting hacks, and we had the sandbox on there, our like DIY one.
Yeah, no, it's great. That was great. We saved a ton of money. We saved hundreds of dollars.
You're right. We did save a ton of money.
It still didn't help the sand coming into the house.
And then like the top of it cracked, so water got in it when it rained, and then it was a swamp.
Yeah, and then it got like scummy.
Yeah, it's really gross.
It was disgusting.
And we changed out the sand probably like 4 times. Mm-hmm. It just kept happening. Yeah. No, the very specific one that I have is so I think it's with one of Emmy's like Diplo sets, or maybe one of Owen's. I can't remember, but there's this like balloon thing on it that comes with it, and it's 2 red balloons.
It's the Mickey Mickey Duplo play set.
Okay, so it was actually one of Owen's toys, but Emmy loves these balloons, and I swear I have thrown these balloons out 4 times, but they keep showing up in the house. So I don't know if I'm not actually throwing them out, but I'm like setting them aside somewhere
I think they're
to
behind
throw
you.
out later. Are they? I don't see them. Do you? They're not actually behind me.
They were.
I see they keep disappearing. You think you know where they are, and then they disappear. But she's just I don't think that they are something she could actually swallow, but they're always in her mouth, and they're the size that like the size of a lollipop. So I feel like she could choke on them, and they're just always in her mouth. And for whatever reason, they're like possessed and keep coming back.
Someone's probably grabbing them out of the garbage.
I'm going to have to investigate this. Are you grabbing them out of the garbage?
I didn't even know you threw them out.
I feel like I've thrown them out at least once or twice.
I don't think you actually did.
I must have just set them aside, like, or put them on the counter to throw it out later or something, because I guess I couldn't be bothered to walk the 3 extra steps to the garbage, but they're just always around.
Yeah.
I can't stand them. A very specific one.
Well, and you know what's funny too is, and we've talked about this too when we were talking about toys in our podcast where we were talking about that kind of stuff previously. I think every parent goes through where the kid has something that like they either have to have, or it's a security thing, or whatever it might be. It's something they're very possessive of. And typically it's like a toy. You know, it's a lovey, it's a stuffy, it's their favorite dinosaur, whatever it might be. It's one toy. Owen has 70.
I was going to say, where are you going with this? Because how can you name just one for him?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one thing I like and I don't like. So we never forced cars upon him. It just happened to be, I mean, as a young boy, he likes cars.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a given.
Because I tried to force. No, I was going to say Harry Potter stuff on him, but he does have 2 owls.
You know, that manifested as owls.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got him a couple Cars things, but I mean, it was his love of Pixar's Cars isn't from me forcing anything upon him.
Yeah.
I think up until we had him, I don't think I've ever seen the second or third one, just the first. And certainly not Planes. So that is a great toy. I do love that he likes that. I think it's great. It's fun to play with, make ramps, play with them, whatever. But it is debilitating. I think we said this before, when he wants to bring them somewhere.
He wants to bring 40 of them.
Right.
On a walk.
Yeah,
around
on a
the
walk,
neighborhood,
or
to Target.
Or to the doctor's office, or to school. You name it. They're spread out everywhere. And again, I love that he loves them. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
We just should have set some boundaries up front and stuck to them.
Yeah, we did not do that.
We didn't at all.
And we're paying for it now. So
we are.
That's more of an us thing more than, a general statement. But I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, where it's multiples of things that are his favorite or their favorite.
Yeah. And I think something Dave and I are learning as parents recently is sometimes you got to set boundaries and just stick with them. And it'll be a couple rough days, but then it'll be like he'll get over it or she'll get over it, and like we'll all move on.
Mm-hmm. We recently had some success with this.
We did. So, yeah, I think, we'll apply that to more things, and just, there's going to be tantrums, but it's better for everyone. Like, we can't continue to just give in to the whims of a 1 and 2 year old, right? Like that's not good for
Probably
him
not.
either. He needs to learn boundaries, and he needs to learn that, you can't always get your way. So.
And not to say he's a spoiled brat. He's
just
learning his boundaries.
He's too. Yeah, I think we're all learning our boundaries, and like any kid, he's going to test them, and like any 2-year-old in the history of the world, he's going to have tantrums.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any other toys that I really dislike. It's really the messy stuff.
I have one more.
Oh yeah?
And I only thought of it because we're coming into the holiday season. And Em was too young for them last year. She was just like
The singing animals.
Yes. So like oh my gosh, yes.
Hallmark singing
right?
animals.
Yeah, so if you heard Hallmark singing animals, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for everyone else who has not heard of this, it's like these like animals or like snowmen or penguins or whatever it is, like a tree, and you press a button and it sings like a holiday song and it like dances around. And Owen loves these. And we're going to bring them out soon because it's going to be the holiday season. And like he'll ask for them. And he's going to play them 1,872 times a day. And it drives me nuts. Like it's fun at first because you're like,
it's cute. They dance. They have
they're
fun.
dancing like heel dance. And like, I'm sure Emmy's going to dance and we're going to be like putting up holiday decorations. But then you get to a point where you're like, I don't want to see that snowman dance anymore. I don't want to hear them talking about the desserts that they're going to eat on Christmas Eve. Make it stop.
It's the same thing as Christmas music being played at work. It's fun for like the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're like, I'm done.
You're like, I've heard Mariah sing this way too many times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, is there too many times hearing Mariah sing a Christmas song? But sometimes it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got on those.
Did we do favorites?
No, we didn't do like what are our favorite toys.
What do you got down for favorite toys?
Well, finger poppers. I think it's going to be like the hot Christmas item because I see them in all the stores. And your mom got them
They're
for
this
us.
year's spinners.
Yeah. Your mom got them
But
for us like
age
months
appropriate.
and months ago. And then we got new tie-dye ones for vacation. But they're just, I think we have like, the first ones we got were just circles. And then we have a circle and like an octagon or something. But you just like, you pop the little half circles to the other side. And both the kids really like them and I like them. It's like calming for me. And this is funny. So I was like, Owen, let's have a race to see like who can do it faster. We each had one and I was like individually popping them and he was going down each line, like popping them just by like running his finger over that line. And I was like, why are you always smarter than me? This is embarrassing. I'm doing like pop, pop, pop each one individually. And he's like,
he's a clever kid.
yeah. I was like, okay. He likes to show me up, as you can tell. What about you?
He does. Honestly, my favorites are fairly limited. I really like their stuffed animals. I think it's cute. They're really cute with their interactions with them when they name them. Owen named a sponge today, which was interesting. And then really just like
But he named the sponge Peanut. Isn't that cute?
Yeah, it's so we were playing down in the basement, which are not usually down in the basement, but as we said, we've been cleaning up stuff and we made the basement safe for them to play in. And we have a stockpile of a shelving of just random stuff. It's basically the pantry, but we have built-in shelves. So extra sponges and extra pasta sauce, shelf-stable stuff, diapers, wipes, all that kind of stuff stays down there. And he was pretending to go shopping, so he would go over, grab something, throw it on the couch, and he'd be like, what's next? And then he'd go over and grab some other stuff. And then he found the Scrub Daddy. I don't know if you've seen a Scrub Daddy. I think it's a Shark Tank thing.
Yeah.
But basically, it's basically this little smiley face, and when you get it hot, it gets squishy, and you can scrub stuff, and it's actually really handy. We've gone through a couple of them.
Yeah.
And he happened to find it, and he opened it up, and he was playing with it. And both of them fought over it because they both wanted to play with it. But he had named it Peanut for some reason. We don't know why. Don't know how he knew that. But he had dubbed it Peanut, and then the rest of the night he was playing with it. He found 500 popsicle sticks and also dumped those. That was fun cleaning up. That we got during pandemic last year.
Yeah, you got them to do some activity with him.
I did, because I thought we could glue them together and build stuff, and then I realized he is 18
He
months.
he was like 14, 15 months.
He was 15
He was
months.
really little.
And that wasn't good.
This is like Dave's
age
like
appropriate thing.
this is when you went furlough and you were like, I'm
Bored.
gonna be you're bored, but you were also like, I'm gonna be like super dad, which you are super dad, but you were like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do all the DIY activities. I'm gonna keep him occupied all day, and then you were like, shoot, this is hard.
It's hard. It's hard for a 14-month-old.
Yeah.
It's a limited amount of things you can do in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was fun. But yeah, stuffies are really great. They just take up a ton of room, and like our playroom, a whole corner is dedicated to stuffies.
It's just a big pile of stuffies, which, like, if I'm thinking about it, a lot of those are what a waste purchases, because you like buy this stuffy and the kid looks at it once and then it goes in the stuffy pile. Like, we probably lost $100 to stuffies.
Easily.
Yeah,
Every time
like,
we go to the zoo.
oh my gosh, yeah, they're like, oh, I need this rhino. I love this penguin, this blue penguin that I sat deciding whether to get a gray or blue penguin for 30 minutes, and then it just went in the stuffy pile. But what I love about the stuffy pile is Emmy like flops around in it, and literally, like, sometimes you can just see her face smiling, and that's all you see in this pile of stuffies. So I love the stuffy pile because she will flop around in it for like an hour and just has the time of her life.
And again, my other favorite is the Duplo.
I was gonna say that too.
Owen's, how old is Owen now?
He'll be 3 in January.
Yeah, so he's coming up on 3, and I knew how old my son was. I just didn't know months.
He was trying to think, like, am I going to be that person that says he's like 32 months, or am I just going to say he's almost 3? You made the right choice.
Yeah, I think so. He's recently really gotten into it. As Becky said, we've got the Mickey Mouse playset. We have the mini Bowtunes playset, a couple other trains.
And we just have like a
random
bin
stuff.
of blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we got that for him, we also got him one of those like flat green things to build on. And he's recently been building like these structures and creating these stories, which is really cool for,
It's so
not
cute.
even being 3 yet. He's creating these like imaginary stories where Figaro is, running around and Minnie's chasing him, and the other kids are playing around, whatever it might be. And it's really fun to see how his imagination is working with that. And while he doesn't have the processes to know how to like build something, substantial, he's still putting them together, matching them up, creating these stories. And I think that's a really great, I played with Lego when I was a kid, and I think we had some Duplo too. But it's cool to see him be creative. He strives for creativity, I think, on a daily basis, whether it be coloring on the iPad or just making drawings. We do that a lot, where we like draw and like try to guess what it is.
Guess the animal.
But the Duplo is great because it's tactile. He can hold it. He can feel it. He can line them up. He can do all these things. And I think that's really really great for the age that he's at right now. And I really support that.
Yeah, it's he's like built with them before, like built towers, or like kind of built with, or he'd be like, hey, build me a garage, and like he kind of helps a little bit. But recently he's really like, it sounds weird to say, but like he's taken ownership of it, and he's like, I'm gonna build the structure, and like if I need you to come in and like help me figure out how to like make this structure like support this, or if I want you to like come in and like be Minnie or like be this other side character, he'll let us know. But it's like it's just like cool to see him get so into something.
Yeah. And we do a lot of building too. We build forts, we build nests. Nests are basically just forts without
a top.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of pillows and blankets.
And right now he's in the building phase of building perimeters.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll build a perimeter, or it'll be like 1 or 2 blocks high for Duplo. If he wants to keep somebody out away from him, he'll create a basically a wall around him,
which is just like things he can reach in like a line around him,
Yeah.
and he thinks it keeps you out.
Basically, think of it as like taking Hot Wheels cars and creating a circle around you and thinking that'll keep somebody out.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
that's his thought process.
You're
right
stuck.
now.
You can't get in here. You're,
But I think he'll build it up as he goes.
Yeah.
But we build forts all the time: pillow forts, blanket forts, whatever happens to be available.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he understands that concept. Tunnels. He loves building tunnels.
Yeah.
And we do a bunch of them. We actually have 2.
So the mats are like if you think back to middle school or elementary school and you did gymnastics in gym class, they're like the mats you would put on the ground. So they're not like super soft, but they're also like, they're like 1.5 inches of foam, hard foam.
I think ours are 2 inches.
Okay, so they're like 2 inches of like more sturdy foam, so we can make like tunnels with them, which is nice. They're not gonna like collapse in on themselves. They're pretty sturdy. So those, they love making tunnels with those. We were not expecting them to be as big as they were.
No, because they're 2 inches each pad, and there's 4 pads on each one, and we got 2 of them.
And so like they fold, right? Like just like the ones in gym class, they fold or whatever, and they're leaning against the wall in our playroom. But we thought they were going to be like a little more squishier, probably. And
we thought they were going to be like sleep mats, kind of.
Yeah, but they've been great because like the kids can climb on them, and like we said, make tunnels with them, and they don't really like move around a lot, so that's good.
Yeah,
like
they're
once
not super
you place
flexible.
them to where you want them to be, like they stay
They're also
there.
Velcro, so they can like stick to the carpet.
Yeah, and we don't really care about the carpet in our playroom currently.
It's just it's Berber carpet. At the place.
Yeah, so we don't really care if it gets like
a little frayed.
Well loved.
But actually, those have been really great. They're not toys.
They're not toys, but like you play with them.
They've been great to have.
Yeah.
Well, does that about do it?
Yeah, that's all I have on toys.
All right, so that's been toys. Obviously, we're going to be getting a bunch more here coming up in the next couple months from Christmas here.
We already have family members asking us what the kids want for Christmas.
Yeah, my brother just texted me. He said, "Hey, what does Owen and Emily want?" I said, "Owen wants, car stuff. He wants Octonaut stuff. He wants Tayo stuff and Duplo." He asked what Emmy wants, and I said,
we know one thing she wants.
Stuffies.
Yeah, stuffies. We know that one dog thing that she picked out, and the rest we got to figure out.
We'll make sure that we get that for her.
Yeah. She'll be very excited.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Spillproof podcast. As always, reach out to us at spillproofpodcast@gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from you all, and we can't wait to talk with you next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.